Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Nerf Herder. I have a personal build, another one. It's Starkiller week for me. I finished this up a couple days ago, and this one I did a lot of work for quite a while, and I did some of it on the Solo Savers weekly workshop with Jeremy working on his. I ran into some snags that I had to take care of as far as wire management, the config, and all that stuff. So once I finished that up, I was good to go, and I've been playing with it ever since, you know, when I have some downtime to kind of mess around and customize it how I want to. So with this Starkiller, this is made from a 2.0 kit, a Graflex 2.0 kit, the Korbanth Graflex kit that I used to sell back in the day. I've had this core for a very long time. This was my first attempt at a cut on a core back in like 2017, maybe 2018, probably somewhere around there. It's been a long time in my scrap bin because I just kept it, and I was like, you know what, maybe I can use it for something later on down the road. Then a few years later, the kits were discontinued. The parts became harder and harder to get. I was like, crap, I have a core. So I was like, let's try to salvage it. So I salvaged the core. I salvaged the shroud because my cuts were all messed up. So the top half was all salvaged. And then the bottom half, the body, I got just, you know, from scrap parts and passing. It was very easy to get a Korbanth body. So with this Starkiller 2.0, first successful one I did was this guy. So this is the first one I finished and completed. This video is going to be a little long because I'm going to talk a lot about this saber. This one was the first one I did. This still has a Prism 5.0 install on it, I think. But I got the pommel, the bars, and the box from Ray Fleet at Texas Custom Sabers. I'm not sure if he's still doing anything. I really haven't seen him much in the hobby, but he used to supply those because that's one of the harder things to get is the pommel. In order to get a Starkiller type tapered pommel design, you usually got to get somebody to machine it for you. So he did that, and this pommel's fantastic. So I thoroughly enjoyed this one at the time. I really loved 4-chamber rods, short. They don't go into the rib section, the waist, and I was all about it. My cuts are a little different. Then after I did an install for Ariston's, he had 2 long bars. And once I had it in hand, I was like, okay, I loved it. I need to do a second one. So that's why I have 2, is because they're 2 separate style cuts and bars and chambers. The chambers are different, the pommels are different, and everything else is pretty close, except for one mod that I did also on this one that I really enjoy is the emitter. So if you look at the emitter, on a Graflex, you have the S-curve, classic Graflex style, right? Which I love. Then what I did was I wanted it to be a little more accurate, and I shaved my S-curve off to give it more of a sharp Starkiller-esque emitter. So it, you know, rounds up to about there and then slides, just sharp straight cut. Makes the emitter a little bit more sharper, you know, and I really like the way it turned out. So love this guy. Got to reinstall at some point, but for you know, the sake of having a new one, I built this dude. So cut the Graflex clamp from Graflex, heat stained, I believe these 2, so maybe a little hard to pick up on camera in person when the light hits it just right. You can see the heat staining on these 2 sections. Cut out a piece of piping to fill that body gap. So it's sections. I just like that look. Gave it some weathering. Cut the bars. Bars are brass. So I need to get them powder coated at some point, probably, if I pull them up and decide to do that, because the weathering and all that's not going to stay over time. They will lighten up and become more brass again. I wanted an open chamber, so I got a very open chamber. I love the exposed ribs. That's just one of my favorite parts about the 2.0 is the undercut and all that stuff. So years ago, when I saw Christian Gale do his, that's what made me like, I gotta do one of those. I fell in love with the 2.0 Starkiller versions. You know, all the versions out there that have production made hilts are really nice, and I've had a couple come through the desk. There's just something about a Starkiller that's scrap built out of a Graflex. It just feels a little bit more, you know, it just feels, there's something special about it. It feels good. 2 bars I got from Cloud City Sabers years ago. Or actually, this is what I always get, but I think Dylan sold me a set because I needed them, and they weren't long enough, so I had other, I don't even know where it's at, but at some point I had 2 shorter ones, and since these can thread in a 440 rod and they are threaded on the inside, I made connecting pieces, so I stretched that guy out. So red Cabochon up in the glass eye, which I enjoy. Power auxiliary, low control, low profile control box. Let's see what else. The pommels from Clint at Solid Sabers. He hooked me up with that, and then I made an insert so I can put a pommel cap on it. So the pommel originally was missing that middle part, so I had a piece of scrap that I threaded this pommel on, cut, and it fit perfectly, so that worked really well. All right, what else? Heat staining on the top, obviously. Had to do it. Again, it is hard sometimes to show it in person. When you get that right gleam, you can see how blue it is. It gets a little blue. It's so hard to show off sometimes. There you go. You can kind of see the blue when the light runs across it. You can see that heat stained, good blueness along with rust and whatnot. One of the things I really enjoyed doing with it, this is a Proffie build. Always wanted to implement the external kill switch whenever I do a Proffie install because I don't want to open the body and mess with it. I have the milled out section of the core for the Graflex 2.0. For switch channel, and I saw someone do it a long time ago, and I finally did one on my Canon Graflex build. I have a video of that on this channel. I love it. I love being able to just pick it up, turn it on, play with it, turn it off. So you're going to be able to turn it on very easily, but once it's on, you're not going to accidentally hit it or do any of that stuff. So to turn it on, you just boop.
What is your will, my master?
That pulsing on the crystal, something I've always wanted to do. And then turn it off so you can't accidentally hit it. You're not gonna accidentally flip that thing. You have to go in there with your fingernail, grab the top, slide it up. One more thing real quick. Another reason why I wanted to do another one was because I wanted to do a dedicated red crystal. So this guy has a clear quartz crystal, so you can have any color you want, which I love, but also a part of me really wanted a red crystal at all times. So that guy in there is always red, and I love it. So turn it on.
What is your will, my master?
And then you got that pulsing there. My razor blade plugs that I like to do on every single saber. Wires going in the back, which I love. I really wanted to do that. The 2 wraparound wires. Got a Graflex thumb screw that's holding the crystal, and then a butane torch from an old tool that goes in there. The crystal, I ran a different blade than the main blade, and then I also have on the chassis a 3rd blade for just a blinky Cabochon. I'll show you in a second. One thing that I found out recently, which is cool, is might be hard to pick up, but the crystal, whenever it reflects light off of the butane torch, it actually looks like the aura from the light looks like it's got like flames coming out of it. It's really cool. Let's see if I can get it. It's hard to tell. I love that. Very happy with how this turned out. Let me go ahead and show you the chassis real quick. I'll put a blade in it and show you some fonts. But this guy was fun to do. You know, obviously I love doing chassis. It's one of my favorite things to play with on a lightsaber is the chassis design. Some of them I go real crazy with, some of them I don't really. I kind of try to simplify it because I will go out of hand. I will get out of hand. But this one I just kind of try to keep, you know, a bunch of pipings, a bunch of greeblies, a bunch of stuff. And then I was like, you know what, I want to do the clear Kobe, the clear Capuchon, and it has some Hasegawa modeling mesh under it. It's really hard to pick up on camera and pictures. I don't have like a macro photography lens, but if I did, you see that it magnifies the mesh underneath, the micro mesh, the Hasegawa micro mesh. So it looks really cool in person.
What is your will, my master?
Especially when the red light is on. So just got a, you know, they act a little differently from each other, but just a cool little extra feature that I enjoyed. And then whenever you turn it off, it goes back down into just a heartbeat pulse type thing, like a heartbeat. All the crystal pulses. So they do a little bit of different stuff, just enough to give you that little extra flair. I love this saber so much. It feels really good to have a Starkiller in my collection again that's alive and running. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. All right, let's put that blade in there. Just a pixel down there that I made a connector for. One thing I did, I also enjoyed seeing Christian Gale did it back in the day, but he straightens his bunny ears, which I thought was really cool. So they have no bend to them, they're just straight. But I enjoyed that. And so, blade in, kill switch right there.
Accessing Imperial records.
You gotta have proxy on there doing that. Love this font. This is actually a Dooku font by Korbanth. This is the Attack of the Clones one. The reason I chose this because I love the hum, but that ignition is cool. Boom. Real quick. Very loud, very nice sounding. Such a good hum. I mean, what a great saber. Alright, I got about 5 fonts on here.
Don't make me hurt you.
Oh, yes. So good. This is Menace V2 by Korbanth Fonts. Those blasters are so cool. I do like how the crystal, I set it up, one of the main reasons I wanted it to be its own blade style was because I enjoy the crystal to act on a lockup, which it doesn't when you have a localized lockup. So that's why I definitely went with that route. So that way the crystal down there is doing a dance of its own, which I thought was cool.
I'm ready.
And this is also Korbanth Fonts. This is his Secret Apprentice. This is his Galen Merrick. from the Force Unleashed 1. Let's do some Force Lightning. Get a couple quotes on here.
Oh, I knew you were still trying to kill me. Juno, I'm gonna need a little help here. Juno, I'm close. I can sense Vader nearby.
That's so cool. This is nostalgic, man. Force Unleashed was one of my favorites when I was a younger video game player.
Take your time. I've got plenty to keep me busy here.
And I do have tracks on each one of them, which is just classic. You know, you gotta have that. So much fun. And then, of course, you gotta put some Vaders on here. One of the things I really enjoy also about this saber is when you're holding it right about here, where the midsection is, you feel the vibration from all of the speaker resonance in the saber itself. So, saber actually does in fact feel alive when you hold it. It's pretty cool. Fast ignitions.
I bring Darth Vader's enemies to justice.
These last two, I think, have been K-Siths. Or the last one was Vader. I think that was Jesse's. They're both Kyberphonic fonts, and K-Sith fonts are on here. Can't go wrong, man. And back to that. There we go. Very, very happy to have this done. It was a labor of love, man. I spent technically years on this saber. You know what I mean? It's been a long time getting it how I wanted it, and I really enjoy it. Very happy to have it finished and in the collection on the shelf. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we got more content coming. Till next time, may the Force be with you.
Stuck up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Scruffy looking.